Hey guys, RJ here. Sorry I was out sick last week. I felt terrible, but what a week to come back into Westworld. Episode 5 was absolutely insane, and I just want to get my thoughts out there because I have a lot of them coming from this episode. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? So this episode was called Contrapasso, which, if you guys don't know, is actually a reference to Dante's Inferno, where souls would go down into hell and they would end up suffering the exact opposite punishment as their sin that they did in real life. And I think this is very important because I think there's a lot of characters in this episode that would reference that in my mind of, they're doing a sin and they're clearly going to get the opposite punishment for it, or they already are suffering through that punishment. So some good examples of this from this episode would be we see Ford suffering through this conversation with Dolores about Arnold, and you see how he's made all of these, hosts at this park, and he no longer has what I'm guessing was one of his only friends back in the day. And then you see the Man in Black when he and Ford have his little spat about basically, what are you actually looking for? What do you want out of this? And I think the Man in Black, has the maze as this final end goal for his life that'll answer some questions, when in actuality, I think it's going to end up answering none of his questions and maybe giving him more. And then we also see William as another example because he has never taken that many risks, especially in the real world, obviously. We've seen him take some here in Westworld, some of that due to Dolores. But I think that's going to be what his opposite punishment is here in Westworld, is that, because he didn't take any risks in the real world, in real life, which Logan points out to him, he's now going to have to take those giant risks here in Westworld to basically thrive. And I think that obviously will translate. There were so many important parts to take away from this episode, so let's go through the top 5 really quick here. Number 1, Dolores lying to literally everybody. You really got to question if what this girl says to anyone is actually true or not, especially after we see that interaction between her and Ford talking about Arnold, and she lies to him about the analysis. So then the real question is, for present day events, is she lying to William as well? Are, the emotions that they're kind of sharing with each other and the things that they're going through, is that real, or is she just making that up? So number 2, Logan's personal mission in this show is to literally try and get people to murder him. He acts like an ass at every possible opportunity. He pushes people way beyond their limits. He obviously treats the park like his own personal fuck buddy, and he wants to take a shit on literally everybody's face. So I'm really curious to see. Obviously, he ends up getting a little bit back this episode, where he ends up getting caught, and William kind of leaves him there, runs off with Dolores. So it's, going to be very interesting to see when Logan comes back, because clearly he's going to. He's kind of William's antagonist at this point, because in the real world, he stands above William. William's married to his sister, and it just seems like Logan kind of pushes him around whenever he wants. Number 3, Ford's mind control shit going on. Clearly last week I wasn't able to do a review, but man, my biggest point would have been the conversation or interaction between him and Teresa. It was just plain ridiculous. I don't know how Ford is able to stop and start all of these hosts without saying it or doing really anything. I'm just really curious as to see exactly how far this ability of his, maybe he's not even human anymore. And I definitely think it's going to be a great theory video for me to do later on, just because he clearly has like some otherworldly connection to these hosts, and he's able to tell them or have them do things without even motioning or saying any commands. So we're definitely have to watch that going forward, because this man is clearly OP. Number 4, Elsie finding that satellite laser communication device within that woodchopping host. Bernard is officially weirded out, folks. He's willing to get in the game now. He knows something is going on, and it's about time, because honestly, clearly something is going on here, and you guys can no longer just sweep this shit under the rug. So let's get going. Number 5, Maeve waking up at the end of this episode was just absolutely ridiculous. The way that she interacts with the butcher guy that ended up fixing that bird. I was waiting for at any moment for her to wake up and just snatch the bird out of the air and just squash it or something. I was super worried. But they ended it really well with her waking up and going, we need to have a conversation. Clearly, something's up with me. That's fine. Maybe she's going to try and flirt her way through this, maybe to have him do something else to one of the other hosts or help her get out of the park or something like that. But she's clearly going to use this guy to every end that she can, because she doesn't have any real resources or friends outside of Westworld. So there was some really funny shit this episode. And I got to say, 2 of my favorites come from one of my favorite characters in the show, Elsie. When she's fixing the pouring robot at the beginning, You know, he's off by a few centimeters or whatever, which I love the centimeter joke that's in there, like shoved in subtly. And then the fact that, you know, she's trying not to like laugh the whole time because this guy has a giant dong. And props to HBO, okay? A lot of people cried out about Game of Thrones. You know, there's a ton of naked women, we're the naked dudes. Well, Westworld so far has been pretty equivalent on both fronts. So if you guys wanted that, well, there you go. And my second favorite part is definitely with Elsie and the necrophiliac, where she basically, you know, shows him the video. She's like, yeah, you see this right here? This is a really interesting after office opportunity you're taking here. And, you know, you can see like just the extreme fright on his face of his friends finding out. And clearly this leads her to end up finding the satellite communication device within the house. But I thought that was hilarious. I think they're doing a great job of mixing in humor into a really serious show, and keep it up. Guys, I thought this episode was terrific. I know it's not as action-packed as some of the earliest episodes were, and I doubt we'll actually see something that action-packed until we get to the season finale, but I just love the way that they're building out this world that we're all falling in love with. It makes so much sense. They're giving characters, you know, deeper drives beyond, you know, we're getting Man in Black explanations, Dr. Ford explanations, and I just love being able to see this kind of come together in a single package, which HBO is so good at doing. But anyway, guys, thanks again for watching. It really means a lot as we get this channel off the ground. And if you guys would, if you haven't already, you guys can like the video if you liked it, disliked it, if you absolutely hated it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. You can comment down below or comment to us on social media. We're always looking to interact with our fans. And until next time, guys, I'll see you soon.